In my previous video, how to deal with chronic rage, destructive rage, we saw that rather than to condemn it or trying to repress it in so many forms, we accept it, we watch it, and we understand through direct perception, through mindfulness, that its origins usually are not what we think they are. This person making me go into a rage and so forth, but it's some vulnerability that comes from the past when we were really unable to really fence and defend ourselves. So we had a look at that, and also we had a look at some time when we have this uncontrollable rage in us, we can hurt unnecessarily other people. So besides healing the hurt part in us that creates this anger, we also need some time to say sorry and to look that that's not the way to behave with certain people. But of course, someone wrote to me, and it was Fred, that said, well, I find very difficult to say sorry, particularly when someone cuts me off in the traffic. And so the question arises, should we at all get irritated? Should we at all sometime express anger and frustration and even do something about it? Or is the spiritual path, the path of liberation, that we should never feel it and we should never express it? Now, we need what is called here emotional intelligence. So as we proceed in the path of self-knowledge, we begin to realize what comes from a frustrated path, a hurt child that gets triggered over the silliest of things, and when sometimes there is a real difficulty, we are dealing with a difficult situation that if we don't do anything about it, it could hurt us, our family, people around us, so we need to say no. Now, the kind of frustration that maybe a car is cutting my road and so forth, we might be able 99.99% of the time to let it go quite easily. The person goes that way, but according to what I see, it's quite okay to feel angry for a moment, to be pissed off. You know, I mean, so what the heck are you doing? You know, you're putting my life, your life at risk. What is this? You know, and you might even, you know, like we do in Italy, hey, mama, you know, is you send a kind of insult, not loud, but you know, whatever. So, so I think it's perfectly okay to get these rushes, but the important thing is to be able to let them go, to make so that they don't eat us, they don't gnaw in us, they don't, you know, somehow act as acid in our digestive system. Now, so anger is okay as long as it doesn't devour you, and as long there is some emotional intelligence that it says it's okay for now. Now we have the second part, which is conflicts with somebody who is really being a nuisance and who is doing something which is wrong. Now, to get to that perception, we have for a moment to use what we have discussed and seen as a no-self vision, perception, which means let me not be just an angry ego that, you know, wants to hurt somebody because I feel irritated, but is really, I'm not in my favor, I'm not trying to get a judgment that goes into what I wish it to be, but let me look at it objectively. And maybe I realize that I have in some ways provoked that, and there are some ways in which I can bring peace in that. That is very important. However, there can be cases, like for example, I've recently, I had my old consultant retired, and this totally new guy, you know, we say in Italian with still milk around the ears, you know, suddenly came in and made a mess of the whole case and refused to say sorry about it and rectify it. So I've put a complaint against him. I'm really presenting all the evidence. And I said, look, if we don't get somewhere positive, I'm going to go to a solicitor and take it to court, because I really feel that as far as this is concerned, it is quite righteous. And if I don't put a stop to that, somebody else, which with less possibilities of fighting back, with less knowledge, with less medical knowledge than what I have, couldn't defend himself or herself. So it is somehow a duty for me to do that. However, I have to be careful that the irresponsible actions of that individual don't destroy my life, that I don't go to sleep raging about it within me, and I don't wake up raging about it and then live my whole day raging again about it. It's like when you can do it with a certain awareness, with a certain perception, all you find is that you have strength, you have force, you have got visual, you know what to do next, inspiration comes to you. But your strength is in your peace, and that you don't let it go, okay? So you are doing something which your heart is telling you it is righteous. You examine if sometime you are the one who is out of order, so that you truly come from righteousness. And if that is the case, then go ahead. You know, by putting a stop to something, you could not only rectify your problem, but help other people, you know, that don't have the strength, as I said before, to fight back. So, anger is one of the emotions we have, of the many emotions we have. And it is a source, as we saw in the other video, and I'll put a link to it, of also it can be a source of strength, of power, of joy. You know, I can stand on my 2 feet. I can say no when required. But I don't let it to burn me, to reduce me to ashes, because then the situation will win over me, rather than me being able to influence the situation. So, to that great question, should a spiritual person that wants to end his karmas or her karmas and not to return to this world, or if you don't believe in rebirth, you can say, as someone that wants to get out of the vicious circle of always feeling upset and not knowing what to do about it. Yes, then to that person I say, anger is okay, sadness is okay, laughing is okay, crying is okay. You know, you are a divine being having a human experience, so have it. But don't accumulate negative stuff that you don't need, okay? So be strong, go after righteousness and pure vision, and do the right thing. And you will get the inspiration of when to move and when to stay still. Thanks for listening and hope to see you soon.